Today we're going to tell you a little bit more about M2L. M2L is a live production cloud-based software as a service product which can be used with simply a browser, a credit card and some mobile phones. Today we're going to tell you a little bit more about using more sophisticated cameras such as the Z280 from Sony. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how to configure it on both the camera and the M2L. So let's look at the M2L inputs and go to the configuration screen. On each input I'm allowed to give a unique name, and in this case I will call the camera the roving reporter, and I will select from the drop-down list the Z280 camera. I have a number of choices below me like the other input types. Always the encoded type is HEVC H265 because the transport being used between M2L and the Z280 is Sony QoS. The raster that I want to use is 1920 by 1080, and in this particular case I want to use 50i as a frame rate. The video bitrate is variable. I can increase from 6 megabits up and down as I like. The buffer size is to allow for network buffering and must be set to suit the network conditions that you experience. The audio codec is always AAC with M2L, and the audio frequency is 48 kHz. To configure the input from a Z280, one must first enter a username, and in this case I'm going to call this Extra Xperia. I'm then going to introduce a password. The password in this case I'm going to use is Sony Cam Demo. Once I've configured those key pieces of information, I can press apply, and M2L will create for me an address which I will then use to configure the camera. Here you can see the address created. This is using the unique event name, My New Event, that I'd entered previously in the details of the event on its creation. I'm now going to configure another input to accept a video and audio stream from XDCAM Pocket. On the PC system settings screen I select input 2, give it an appropriate name and choose XDCAM Pocket as an application. I can similarly to the Z280 choose the bitrate to suit the network conditions. The buffer I can change to suit the network conditions too. Audio is AAC always, and audio frequency is 4800 kHz. Once I press apply, that input is now configured and ready to receive an XDCAM Pocket input. The device ID will be acquired from the XDCAM Pocket application when it connects. So once the CCM address and username and password is created, I'm now going to change over to the camera menu to show you how to configure the Z280 to communicate to M2L. To do that, I go to the Network Client Mode menu and I configure the appropriate settings menu. In this case, I'm using Network Client Mode Settings 2, which is a preset configuration of the Network Client Mode. I enter the information from M2L, specifically the address, which is the target URL that the camera will send video and audio to, the username, Extra Xperia in this case, and the password that I've set for that particular input. I can then press set to save the information, and then I can make sure that my setting menu is on to make the network client mode and begin streaming. You can see in the display NCM in the top right hand corner, and when streaming begins to your target destination, white STRM letters appear. So now I've finished showing you how to set up the Z280, I'd like to turn my attention to the XDCAM Pocket application and show you how to connect that to an M2L instance running in the cloud. The XDCAM Pocket application can be used as a camera in its own right. It can be used as a streaming device by connecting any HDMI output capable camera to the UVC input on the Xperia Pro mobile phone, or in fact any mobile phone that supports UVC as a connector type. And it can also be used as a tally system or tally display and a return viewfinder monitor for cameramen. That means that quite sophisticated team-based productions can be driven from the M2L switcher. To connect to an event that's running in the cloud, the first thing one must do is sign in. You'll have already received a sign-in when you registered to use M2L. Use the same sign-in to get access to the XBT application, and that sign-in can be you or one of your teammates who are part of your group. For more information on configuring the group, go to the M2L application on your computer. To connect to an event, select the Connect from Here indication at the bottom right-hand side of the screen. That will take you to a connection screen, and you can simply select Connection and then scroll down a little bit and you will see an event option in the middle. This shows you a list of all events available on your account. Whilst your instance is starting, you will see a starting indicator on the right hand side of the screen. So when an event is starting, typically it takes a few minutes to get running. Once it's running, and I go into the event list, you'll see that the running event is right at the top and in green. I can now select the event, and XDCAM Pocket will take me back one level. Then I can select Connect to Event Input, and the mobile phone and the cloud switcher will connect each other together. The device tells me that I'm online. I can go back to the main screen by clicking top left hand corner twice, and now I'm at my camera application. You can see the STRM on the right hand side, which stands for streaming. By selecting streaming, the camera will begin encoding its video and audio and sending it to M2L. One of the very nice aspects of XDCAM Pocket when used as a camera is that it can display tally information. If I put this camera on the preview channel, then I get a clear green bar indicator at the bottom of the screen showing that I am the next cameraman to go to air. If I take that camera to the main program output of M2L, the tally indicator changes to red. This happens on all XDCAM Pocket camera phones connected to M2L during a production. An alternative use of XDCAM Pocket is as a return viewfinder monitor. By stopping the streaming of this particular application and returning to the home screen, bottom right hand corner, I'm allowed to see a multi-view of all cameras involved in my production, as well as preview and program. tally does carry on through this viewfinder display, as well as program output.